Hello everybody, in this video I am going to be working in my brand new junk journal that I made very recently. If you didn't see the making of video, it will be the video previous to this one. But yes, these are the first pages I work in this journal. Very excited. New journal is always like a really exciting thing. Like, oh, where do I start? I've got so many choices and options, so I just opened it randomly and said I will do something that matches these pages. So when I opened on these pages, which have a very sort of rustic woodland theme going on, one side is a printable from I think Ink and Page, and the other side is one of my handmade papers. I thought, actually, this is going to be perfect for using some new stuff to my shop, which is my mushroom collection, mushroom stickers and sticker flakes and journal cards and die cuts, and I thought they would look really nice on this spread. Just then I was showing you all the little bits that come in the mushroom collection, but I decided to use this journal card here. Is one of the ones that I've either kept for myself or will go in one of my oops grab bags, because the journal cards for sale are double-sided and these ones are not, because there was a little oopsie in printing. It's a very long story, so that's why I'm backing it with a piece of just pretty sort of brown textured paper. And then I'm also taking a slim washi tape and going around the edges of that just to stop it curling up at the edges later on, apart from on the edge where I'm going to use it to tip in. I also had these stickers which I recently picked up from the range, I think they were from, and I pulled out a few that I thought would kind of match the overall theme. I'm distressing around those with Distress Oxide in brushed corduroy. I really hope you're not seeing what I'm seeing right now as I'm doing a voiceover, because like the video is really jolty and something, and I really, sometimes my computer does this and it makes me really hard to do a voiceover because I'm not seeing properly what you guys are seeing. So I will just have to carry on for now and hope for the best in that I can vaguely make out what's going on. It's one of the things that people think YouTube is so easy, but there's all these little things that make it just that little bit harder. Anyway, here I am putting in some of those mushroom stickers. I think they're super cute, personally. And then I'm going around the edges because they do have white edges with the brush corduroy. Again, I don't mind, I've said this many times before, I don't mind white edges on stickers if you don't like them and they're easy enough to cover up. Sometimes I like to have them on the page, sometimes I like to colour them or trace around them in pencil or something. It's one of those things that I feel like people moan about a lot with stickers that have like a big border on, but when you are a small business like myself, it is virtually impossible to not have a border on stickers. So I don't know, I get quite like, I take it way too personally when people moan about borders. Like, unless you have a really expensive industrial factory level machine, it is just, yeah, as I said, virtually impossible not to have borders. As for those big companies that have big borders, I make no excuses for them. They've got the equipment to have no borders. Sorry, we're only like 3 minutes into the video and I've already had a little rant about something. My apologies for that. So on this right side where my handmade paper is, I just sort of made this collage of various textures and stuff. I had these leaves that I had pulled from my garden to do the product photos for the mushroom stickers. And these ones here, these are laurel leaves. They are the most beautiful rich brown colour. Now I know they have yet to dry and they will dry in the journal and we will find out what happens, you know, in a few months what they look like, but for now I'm just going to stick it in. So I thought I would make a cute collage with some textured fabric I found, the brown lace fabric, one of the die cut mushrooms, and just a random scrap of pretty paper as well. I did want to add some rub-on or transfer stickers, but it turns out that my handmade paper does not like transfer stickers. Now, I tried to make it work by adding a bit of glue, didn't really work out. I'm not going to lie to you and say, you know, it was just this one, the rest of them will be fine. More experimenting, I need to do more experimenting basically to see, because this might be one of the handmade papers I made before I changed the recipe, for want of a better word. So I don't know if this is one of the newer or older papers, so maybe rub-ons would work on one of the newer papers. I don't know, I just need to do some experimenting, but I just want to be honest and say, for now, as far as I know, rub-ons don't work on my handmade paper, but further investigation needs to happen. So the rub-ons didn't really happen, but I did find that very lovely moth sticker and whapped that up there. And then I'm simply going to add journaling to that other side in a nice brown ink, because I thought it would go very nicely with the aesthetic of the page. Also some journaling on the back of that card before I tip it in as well. I have shown this quite a few times before, but sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes with tip-ins I will add double-sided tape underneath the washi tape I use to tip it in. Washi does not hold up forever, it really doesn't, and also if it's a cheaper washi it's going to be even worse. So this washi I'm using here, it came in one of those sets, you know, you get like 10 rolls for not very much money at all. It's cheaper washi, it's not as sticky, so that is why I'm adding extra double-sided tape. Sometimes you can tell by the feel of a paper, the feel of what you're tipping in, the feel of the washi, whether it's going to hold up or not. I can't really give you a categorized list of how it works, but I just kind of know by feel. But if you want to be safe all the time, then just add extra tape. So these next pages kind of have a bit of a story behind them. You'll notice the page on the left is another one of those printables, and it's kind of like a pretty little stream, which worked for what I was journaling about. Here I am pulling out some felt scraps. So we were recently in Reeth in the Yorkshire Dales. We actually went there on the way home from somewhere else. Like, it was a slight detour, but not that much. And I went to one of the gift shops and they had these really beautiful, like, handmade felt notebook covers. And I don't know what the craft is called, but like the felt is patterned as well, like there's almost embroidery on it or something. But anyway, they were really beautiful, but they were a little bit out of my budget. But they did have like bags of scraps of like the leftovers from making the notebook covers, and I was like, absolutely, I'm having a bag of those. So that is the felt I was playing with there. And the one you saw me pull out, I did pull off some of the backing to make it a little bit less bulky, but it's like a beautiful field with flowers and a sky, and I had to include it on this. So the story behind these pages is, you can see I've printed out like 6 photos there on my HP sprocket. The Yorkshire Dales is my favourite place in the entire world. Like, I know there are far more spectacular, wonderful mountains and whatnot around the world, but I don't care. The Dales will always be my favourite place. And within the Dales, I had a favourite place, which was this just beautiful, darling little stream and a bridge. It was my family's favourite place. Like, there's nobody around for miles. You might see the occasional car go by on the road in the distance, but you know, and I'm not saying it belonged to us. I'm sure other people went there, but there was never anybody else there when we were there. And we called it our stream. We know it doesn't belong to us. Like, we're aware of that. It's just, you know, things, languages that families make, isn't it? Anyway, very sadly, in 2019, there was some horrendous flooding in the Yorkshire Dales, and the flooding came down that stream like an absolute wave, like a beastly river, and destroyed that very old beautiful dried stone bridge. And yeah, we hadn't seen it since. My dad had, but you know, he's a man, he's not very good at describing things. Now, again, I just want to point out, obviously those floods did huge damage to people's actual lives and livelihoods and anything, and I am not trying to compare in any way, but it's still a bit sad for us, okay? So I just wanted to do some pages showing some basically before and after photos. So I have photos from years and years ago when we were last there, and photos from now. So they had to rebuild the bridge completely, so it looks completely different. It's a very modern looking bridge now. I understand why you can't rebuild an old dry stone bridge, like the engineering and complicatedness that goes it, you know, fine. But also, like, the layout of the stream bed has changed. It used to be really shallow. You could basically walk through it to get to the other side, and it had like a lovely little island in the middle. That's gone. It is the bed is really, really deep now. There is rubble and rocks everywhere. You can't get very far down. The island is no longer an island. It's just a sort of a lump with water coming down one side. Like, yeah, it's different. And I think the fact that it was nature that did it rather than man kind of helps. I mean, we could make arguments about climate change and that effect on the floods, but generally speaking, it was a natural flood that caused this heavy, heavy rain. So yeah, it's sad, it's bittersweet, but I will still always love the Dales. So there we go. So I have some before and after pictures. I didn't want to cover too much of that page with the stream on because it kind of reflected what I was talking about in my journaling and stuff. So I've taken some onion skin paper here, decorated it with some rub-ons. I backed my photos with some pattern paper, but I backed them on the side that was white, so that when you flip over the paper to see my journaling, you actually see the pretty side of the paper there. But I did take a Stabilo Woody pencil and go around the edges of the photos as well, and then activated the colour with a water brush and just writing the dates there, just so you can see, you know, the difference. There's a picture of me and my dad there the other week where it is. Yes, very, very different. Again, I want to reiterate, my family sort of losing a place that we like to visit every few years does not in any way measure up to the people who lost a lot in those floods. I don't believe there was any loss of life, but you know, property, people's homes and things and people's livelihoods are very, very important. And sometimes people kind of, when it comes to subjects like this, they're not listening to what you're saying and automatically going, how dare you talk about this? Like, no, I understand that what happened is to other people is way more important. But yeah, it's just you know, sigh, we lost that place and we loved it. And I'm sure there are other people who loved it as well. We noticed when we were there the other week, there were like piles of stones that were almost definitely like pet burials. So I think it must be important to some other people as well. Anyways, I've completely chatted through these pages, so I haven't described what I'm doing at all. Hopefully you've seen and got the general gist. I'm adding a few transfers to this page to make it a little bit more my own, make it more interesting, cute little butterfly up there. I haven't done much, not much needed to be done, but if you're a regular to my channel, you know I can't just leave a page as is. I have to make it my own in some way, shape or form, even if that's just the smallest little thing. So a little thing there that says collector or collection of memories from Tim Holtz rub-ons, and I think that is it for those pages. So the last spread I'm going to do in this video, again, this one is going to be kind of bittersweet, so I really hope I'm not too depressing in this video, but this is about my brother, who many of you know I lost last year. I wanted to do, I recently got a tattoo for him, a big memorial tattoo for him, so I wanted to put it in my journal. I had this lovely ribbon that my sister gave me with the Lion King on because he loved the Lion King. And then I'm going through all my various sticker books in a desperate search for red roses. Surprisingly few red roses in my sticker books. You might have seen a couple that I've missed and gone, no, you've missed one. I probably did miss a couple, but a lot of them are actually camellias and not roses, I might point out. So yeah, I surprisingly really struggled finding them, and I'm kind of annoyed about it. That first book was the Bunches of Botanicals Blooming sticker book. That one is the Sticker Studio Flora, and then I think I also look in the Botanist Sticker Anthology. I found out when I was doing stuff on one of the another video that is yet to come out that the other sticker studio, the Arcana, actually has a lot of red roses, but I didn't think to look in that one, so that's annoying. Anyways, eventually I had to give up and had to go for some pink roses as well, which I found in a Mambi sticker book as well. But I've said this before, my little brother, he adored roses, especially red roses. So my tattoo for him, just showing you now, is two roses and then Simba from The Lion King in the middle for my brother. It's big. I wasn't planning on getting it that big. I was getting it a little bit smaller. I don't know if you can tell in the picture, but that is the entirety of my lower leg. What happened was, I went to my appointment and he was about to prepare the stencil for me because he'd already done the design and everything. And he was like, oh, remind me how big you want it? And I just jokingly said, as big as you've got time for. And he looked at me like, seriously? I was like, just do whatever you want. I don't mind. I did want it fairly big. And then he printed off the stencil very large and we just went for it. And I love it. I absolutely love this tattoo. I adore it. And no, by the way, surprising amount of people have gone, oh, is it your first? No. No, it is not my first. I'm in my 30s. There's 2 tattoos that you can see in some of my videos. The rest of them are hidden by clothing. But, you know, it's just like, why do people keep asking me if it's my first tattoo? I don't understand. It's just a bit strange to me. Anyway, moving on. As you can see, I stuck down that ribbon with some very, very wide red line tape, and I stuck the roses all over the place. Decided to half back that photo with just a little bit of a scrap of paper that was lying around, and then I really liked this sticker to sort of border the picture as well. Now, at first I was just going to leave it to one page. Oh, I'm using a Stabilo brown, Stabilo all pencil in brown just to go around that photo, helps it stand out a bit. Anyway, yeah, I was just going to leave it to one page, but I had all these other bits lying around that I'd got out to use, and I thought, what the heck, we'll expand it. But for more roses, I found this paper I could fussy cut a few out of. Again, they're pink roses, but again, surprisingly hard to find red ones. I don't know why. So fussy cut those, stuck those down. That large sticker is from that same Mambi sticker book that I pulled out the other roses from. That little thing with an actual red rose on that little card, I found it in my scraps pile. I think it maybe came from some Happy Mail, maybe. And then you may be thinking, Grace, this little card with a glittery yellow star on doesn't really match what you're doing. No, it doesn't, but it reminds me of my brother, so I'm going to use it anyway, because he loves stars, and one of his favourite things to say was, "You're a star." So, in case anybody doesn't know, my brother was nearly 30 when we lost him, but he had Down syndrome and autism, so he wasn't like your average 30-year-old man, if you get what I mean. Anyway, so I've tipped that in. I will be sticking a photo of Sam on the other side of that tip in, but sadly there's this thing with the internet we have discovered where sometimes pictures of people with learning disabilities can be stolen and used for nasty things. So I obviously know that the person watching this right now would never do such a thing, but I still have to be careful, so I will stick that in at a later time. I added my journaling there, and then I finally remembered that I actually do have some red rose stickers of my own, from my own shop, of my own design. Felt very stupid there for a second. I only had these 3 and I was too lazy to go and print and cut some more, but I thought I would just include them anyway and stuck them on that card. So with that, that is the last of the pages that I work on today. So thank you so much for watching. Please leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Chat to me down in the comments. Relevant links will be in the description box. And yeah, that's it. I am going. Thank you again. Bye bye.